With me having to leave like an hour and a half early for acting class because of traffic, since I live in Houston, usually by the time I get to acting class, I'm usually pretty hungry. Especially if I'm on a cut and I'm already reducing the amount of calories that I'm eating. So usually when I get there, well, not usually, I try not to make it a habit, but at least today, they have a little self help store where I walk over and it's like there's no employees. There's a camera just to make sure you scan your shit and pay. And then it's literally like self checkout. You scan, tap your card, and then you're off. Now that's not the point of the story. The point is they had the legendary protein pastries. If you don't know what those are, they're kind of like protein Pop Tarts. Now, do they taste like Pop Tarts? Debatable. Debatable. Very debatable. Texture wise, no. Do they look like Pop Tarts? Yeah, kind of. Kind of. Texture wise, no. They're very, like, soft and chewy, just like most protein treats. But anyway, I go back to the lobby, waiting for class to start, and usually I'm chatting it up with the front desk dude. His name's Nick. And when I open my second protein Pop Tart, I tell him, I'm like, look, sorry, this is my last one. And then the aggressive rapper noises in this quiet lobby will end. And he's like, nah, you're good. And then he looks at what I'm eating mid sentence and goes, wait, you like those? And I'm like, yeah, And he's like, why don't you get the cookie? I'm like, they have cookies? In my mind, I thought he was like saying they had a protein cookie, but he's like, yeah, the Lenny and Larry's cookie, and I'm like, Nick, that cookie has like 500 calories. He's like, yeah, but it tastes better. And I'm like, Nick, I'm not eating these because of the taste. I'm not eating these protein Pop Tarts going, oh my god, this is so good. It tastes exactly like a regular strawberry Pop Tart. I wish I had a glass of fucking milk right now. No. I'm eating them because for 180 calories, I get 4 grams of net carbs and 0 grams of protein. Now, does it have some sugar alcohols in there that are going to make me feel slightly bloated? Yeah, but I'm going to feel full and I'm going to hit my protein, and that's the only two goals that I wanted to accomplish in that moment. I didn't need something fucking delicious. I needed to hit my protein, and I needed to not be hungry in the middle of class. And those little protein pastries accomplish both of those things, with the only downside being I might look slightly less aesthetic after I eat them from, well, all the fiber that's in them from being a low carb treat. But it kind of brings me to something that my uncle says all the time that is so true. He's always like, nothing tastes as good as healthy feels. That's true. I can attest to that because I've lived on both sides of the coin. From extremely unhealthy all the way to extremely fit. And I can tell you right now, the version of me sitting in front of this camera feels a whole lot better than the version of me you see in some of my before photos. It's a night and day difference. And I'm not always eating for the pleasure. Like, one quote my dad said one time that kind of still sticks with me is when I got him to start dieting, he kind of had this epiphany himself. He was like, yeah, I'm not living to eat anymore. I'm eating to live. Which is a very good mindset change to maybe try to start with if you're trying to change your diet. Like, it does a few things. First of all, it gives you the perspective of, all right, if we're eating to live, you have to eat to live, so you're always gonna have your next meal. You're always gonna be able to eat again, no matter how much more of something you want, or how much of a bad food you want that you may be restricting yourself from for some reason, most likely to cut calories. But another thing that it does is it teaches you to practice. How do I phrase this? Just try it. You know, if you're somebody who finds himself living just to eat, like I used to do, try to just flip that small switch in your brain. Tell yourself, you know what? Do I eat to live? Ask yourself before each meal, do I need this to survive? Will this be conducive to the goals that I'm trying to achieve? You know? Like when I'm deep on a cut, and I know like a refeed day is not an option. I'm just trying to weasel my way back into a bad habit. That's what I do. I'm like, do I need this to live? Do I need this in order to achieve a goal that I'm trying to accomplish? Now, if I'm bulking, you know, extra food is pretty conducive to what I'm trying to do, to an extent. Now, if I'm cutting, not so much. I really try to hone in on my hunger cues. Am I full? Am I actually hungry? Maybe I'm just dehydrated. Exhaust all other options in your brain before going to town on whatever food you've been thinking about and fucking up your deficit. Just try to be aware of the mental cycle that your brain puts you through when you're about to eat some shit that you know you shouldn't eat. You know? But that's all I got for today. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.